Fine, we're good.
Yeah, you're on.
Okay. Great, everyone, thanks for joining. Happy New Year. See everybody for the New Year. We are the first official Millbrook Valley Trails Committee meeting for 2024, January 22nd, 4 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order and do our land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge the township of Catamount is located on the Treaty 28 Michi territory and traditional territory of the Michi Assiniboine. We offer our gratitude to First Nations for their care for and teachings about these lands. May we honor these teachings. And item number 3, approval of the agenda. So moved. Seconded by Kurt. All in favor? Okay, and now we'll move into closed session. And minutes of the meeting held November 27, 2023. It's a long time ago, it seems. Does anybody have any comments, concerns, edits, or the meetings from that meeting? Apologies for the minutes from that meeting. If not, could I have a motion to approve the minutes, please? Kurt, seconded by Gary and John. All in favor? Wonderful. Okay. So section 7 reports. I assume the absence of some of that you're going to do that.
Absolutely, I can. Sorry, guys. Budget meeting this Thursday, so we're in preparation here. For the operating budget that's going before council this Thursday, by the way, we have our operating, we have contracted services at 1,700, materials and supplies at 4,800, and that's all I have as of right now. I will let you know. Do you want me to break for a second? Sorry.
No, we're just Marine's asking for a Zoom link. I know she did the driving.
We have to
Do that.
It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you need to call that then.
I need a motion for recess. Okay, and in order to allow Mr. McDonald to join, can I please call for recess? Dave, seconded by Gary, all in favor?
Get her settled here.
Okay, everybody back?
Hi, sorry, so late, folks.
No problem. So Maureen, we're on, section 7.
Okay.
We're gonna work.
And I'll go over that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So, sure, financial.
Yeah, absolutely. So the 2024 operating capital is going before council on this Thursday. So for operating right now for capital, for contracted services, we have $1,700. And for materials and supplies, we have $4,800, and that's in the operating budget for the committee. Over and above that, as discussed previously, we do have a capital budget. The item under capital is the Millbrook Valley Trail Bridge and Boardwalk repairs. The total costing for the quotation was approximately $80,000. And we're pulling the 16.5 from the Cowan into that, where the ask for council is 63,500. And if I'm just double checking, Mr. Chairman and committee, I don't have any other ask for capital, I don't believe. No, that's the only ask for capital for consideration at the budget process this week.
Okay, so, sorry, are you asking for us to approve?
No,
65?
oh no,
Okay.
I'm just letting you know.
Okay,
Yes,
because I would assume, will we need to get a new quote for the boardwalk?
if council keeps this project in, if we
Right.
pass for Thursday, then yes, we would get all brand new quotes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's gonna be discussed Thursday.
That'll be discussed Thursday if council supports the budget request.
Right.
And then if it stays on for council and that project still stays, then before we do anything anyways, we would revise the quotes just to ensure we have proper amounts.
Okay,
Yes.
and can you remind me, I believe there's this public input passed for the budget?
No, so we have 2 meetings on Thursday. We have a meeting at 1 o'clock, which is the budget presentation, which is the second draft of the budget. So staff will stand up and we will present the second draft of the budget. The evening meeting starts at 5? 6 p.m. 6, okay, thank you. 6 p.m. and that is a public process and everyone is welcome to come. But at that time, you're welcome to speak if you have any questions or clarity or support or not support or anything like that. You're more than welcome to come and speak.
Great.
It's a public process, so you don't have to make a delegation in the aspect of filling out a delegation form. You can just welcome to come and speak to a matter if you wish to do so.
Okay, yeah, so I'd encourage anybody if they're concerned about this to try to be present at that meeting.
Through your chair, the only thing I would like to add is if you are coming or you'd like to send someone on behalf of the committee, we do need the committee's support today to do that. Otherwise, if you're going, it would just be as yourself as an individual.
Yes. Yeah. Okay,
Yes, sorry?
any questions?
Well, I just maybe, yeah, we'll need to read that and I'll pose a question after. Does anybody have any specific questions for me?
Okay.
Maybe I'll pose a question now. Does the committee feel it necessary to have a specific delegation on Thursday? Or do you think our concerns are adequately represented already? Not check for me.
I would probably suggest, so if it was up to me, I would say something at the meeting myself as opposed to having the committee speak, because we've kind of had the input here already, but I think we've got people rooting for us there. So.
Agreed. Maureen, any concern?
I mean, it's a larger budget item than we're accustomed to asking for from the from council, so I do wonder how it'll look if there's no one from the committee there.
Well, I think, and again,
Staff.
it's been more of a staff thing. We haven't really specifically asked for this, I remember, I mean, this is, you know, I think we're supported in various ways, but this was not us going out and getting 3 quotes and saying we need $63,000 directly, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, we've openly stated the works need to be done, and we openly recognize that the monies that you currently have in your committee budget would not do those types of repairs. It's quite common for staff. This is our role. We put the capital budget forward and we give explanation. It does very much help when we say the committee's in support of the works that need to be done here to keep the trails going. And we'd appreciate that, but it's entirely up to you. Like, we would not say that the committee is asking for this. We would say that staff has made a recommendation for these works and the concern to get these works done and completed, for, you know, the safety of continuing with that trail system and through there. So we would definitely be saying, it's a staff ask. But we believe that the committee is supportive of that ask.
Would it help for you to have a vote though toward an endorsement of staff's presentation to
I think
council?
we sort of have done that in 2023.
I think you did.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay,
already.
all right.
I think you did, but you're more than welcome to come out and speak in support, and we would always welcome and encourage the public to come.
Well, that being the case, then I would suggest we update a motion of support now. That you say at the last meeting, the committee indicated that they are in support. That way, if the weather's bad and nobody gets to the meeting, you've got it recently. So I would make a motion to affirm our support for this project. And
Can I just ask one clarifying question before I bring that motion forward? So the 63.5 that the council is we're proposing to add, is that only for the boardwalk, or are we looking at the bridge replacement as a separate entity? We don't know what that costs yet. Or are we saying it's all in, we're gonna have to fix the bridge for that 63.5 too?
I believe it's all in, but Carly, I wasn't at the last meeting.
My understanding was it was the bridge, the Baxter Creek Bridge was complete. Now it's the additional boardwalk and then Meds Bridge.
Yeah, Meds
Bridge.
But we don't have, I mean, I had in September, October, I gave a very sort of brief or high level cost estimate of what that might be. I think it was in the range of about $1,800, $2,000 for materials to replace Lower Meds Bridge. But I just don't know whether that was, I don't believe that was included in the cost for the boardwalk too. So I'm just saying, will we have to go back to council to ask for an additional $2,000?
Based on what Chris has provided, if both are included.
Okay.
it
Yeah.
specifically mentions the Meds.
It does.
Yeah.
It mentions Baxter Creek Boardwalk repairs and Meds Bridge.
Okay.
It does state the two. If there's any clarity after, I can let you know, but that's it. That is what it says. Okay.
Okay, then I'll make that motion.
All right. Okay, so can we have a motion then, John, for committee support for the Thursday meeting, Thursday budget meeting, to support the monies requested for capital requested for the replacement of boardwalk past the new floating bridge and replacement of bridge on lower, that's
Yeah, Millbrook Valley China Bridge and Boardwalk repairs. Okay.
That would be my motion then, Mr. Chairman.
And second.
Happy to second that. Dave, second. All in favor? Yeah, and I mean, just for your information, we have a lot of the materials on hand already for the lower bridge.
Okay,
But the bulk of the money was for the steel beam replacement that unfortunately got bent
oh, I
during
remember.
the
Yep.
work
Renovation.
shared, which are now kind of unusable.
Okay.
Unfortunately, can't bend it back.
No, of course not.
But yeah, I mean, we've got the wood, we've got most of the hardware, even the light bolts and things we need already in the shed because we purchased extra when we built the station trail bridges, pre-COVID. And it'll just be some pressure treat, some stuff that we don't have, we don't keep in stock.
I'll certainly pass that along.
Yeah, I've discussed with Chris and I
Okay.
still need to finalize, a plan with Kyle that he's happy with, but, the bridge design will be pretty much identical to what we've done at Station Trail and what we did over,
I think I read that.
the
yeah.
bridge at the fairgrounds.
Okay. Okay.
And of course, we'll need to involve our guy, when that time comes to be able to get their correct permissions and documents in place for its
Chris is aware, yes.
works. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions regarding financial report from the township? No? Okay, excellent. Meredith, work update.
I call through you, Chair, if we can have a motion to receive Ms. Hurley's financial update.
We have a more, it's even very financial update.
So moved.
From John, seconded by Dave, all in favor? Thank you. Sorry, Meredith.
No problem. Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Happy New Year, everyone. Just a couple of updates from Autonomy Conservation for you. We had our annual general meeting earlier, or like it's late last week, and we have a new chair and a vice chair. So our new chair is Michael Metcalf from Trent Hills, and our vice chair is Kevin Duguay from the city of Peterborough. So we thanked our former chair from your municipality for all of his wonderful support. And we had a great event at the Riverview Park and Zoo. We do have our new website. It launched just before Christmas. So I don't know if any of you have had a chance to go on, but it's the same platform as the municipalities use. So it'll look very familiar to you. And that was a big job, but it's great that it's up there. We're just in the process of getting our tree sales onto our new website. So the online platform will open probably the first week in February. So if you are interested in ordering trees, I don't know if you want to talk about that at this meeting or if you want to do it in the February meeting. But I thought I'd put that on your radar because we will be opening probably that first week in February to start taking orders online. We will start our spring water awareness program, but not until February, March. So I think that's probably about it for my update. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
I do, Meredith, wonder, starting to speculate about the possibility of doing some buckthorn remediation in 2 or 3 different sections on the trail. And I was just wondering, in areas that have been infested with buckthorn, are there particular trees that are more successful than others that you're aware of? Particularly where the buckthorn is near water?
That's a good question. We may want to reach out to the Ontario Invasive Plant Council for some advice on that. They do have some online best management practices. I can certainly connect you if that would be helpful.
Yeah.
In the past, near water, dogwoods are often a really good choice because they have such a dense root mass that they can choke out other things. But I would be interested in knowing what the OIPC recommends.
Okay, I'll send them a letter then and copy to you.
Thank you.
Feel free to add any questions of your own if I sort of slip up with gaps. I'm just not as familiar about the whole buckthorn situation and what it does to the soil.
Okay, thank you for that. Can I maybe ask Ms. Hurley for a clarification on when you expect that budget to be approved?
So this is the second draft, and then the final draft goes February, I want to say.
Okay, well, we'll know by our February meeting that that budget has been confirmed.
Yes, oh, absolutely.
Okay, I'm just thinking for the trees discussion, maybe we leave trees discussion to February so we know what money they have in the pot.
Okay.
Everybody good with that? Yeah, okay. Thank you. Any other questions for Meredith? No? Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to the travel report. Kurt, do you want to start? Oh, and we're gonna need to make a motion to receive Ms. Carter's report, please. Kurt, seconded by John, all in favor. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, travel report. Do you have anything to note?
More just generalities. Obviously, since everything's frozen up, everything is pretty smooth and nothing is obvious. Needless to say, before everything froze up, we had a very wet, damp, late December, early January. It was very muddy everywhere, all the usual spots. And there, with some wind coming through, there was lots of small branches down in places everywhere, but nothing major that I ever came across. Unless John was out there and chopped something down before I got there. And over and above that, the only other thing just to note is before it did all freeze up, the final flat section of by Route 3 going into the bridge there, it got very flooded and muddy, and I did use my boomers and sticks just to make sure it was draining better, and it did seem to help a lot. So if anyone does venture down there now it's frozen, it shouldn't be as skateable, shall we say. And there's just a couple of minor points on north of the fault line, but you're gonna yeah. So that's I've got everything looks good shape.
Yeah, I'll second that. I mean, it's was sort of the wet rain the wet snow we had and then froze. It's not particularly smooth. It's kind of treacherous in places and not the most comfortable to walk, but it's getting better, and I'm seeing that we're gonna get maybe 5 to 10 mils later this week of pure rain. Things will warm up, so we'll see what they're like. All I will say is the Lower Meds Bridge that we've talked about previously, that we're gonna replace hopefully in the spring. With that wet snow that turned to ice, it seems even a bit more dangerous, not dangerous, but there's that added weight on it already, right? So
on the plus side, it doesn't sway as much.
the ice, but I think it's good that we have it on the list, but I'm not sure how many more winters it would have been able to go through. I did notice some earlier this week, some bike tracks on Lower Meds, and there was some, what do you call them, fat tire bikes, and some people had parked in the parking lot, and I was just there walking the dog, and I just mentioned to them that there are other places to ride, and they said they understood and they didn't realize they were not to bike there, but I think we have enough signage up that says that, but whatever. I mean, I think again, this time of year, it's not as big a concern with the infrastructure that we have. So, I think things are going, I think that's all going well. And Marine has finally put out the last of our poop and scoop bags. So I need to get into Peterborough and buy some more. I assume I can do that with a budget being free.
Yeah.
We're down to the last half dozen boxes, so.
No problem.
Any other questions about trail? Anybody else notice anything that's been out and about of concern?
I'm sure this all comes up with around the bridge, and that the boardwalk that's hopefully will be replaced, but there is just on this side of the boardwalk guide, the town side of it, there is immediately before you go onto the bridge, there's one missing board there, which it's lame.
Before the cloning bridge.
Yeah, immediately before. Yeah.
Through you, Chair, just had a question. Prior to the break, we were working with the committee to provide more no motorized vehicle signs. Was the committee able to get those up and installed? If not, then they're probably still in our office.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that they were available.
Yeah, okay. So
They
then
are?
we'll make sure we can get those to you.
Okay.
That just reminded me, there is on Station Trail where you enter, you go past the two bridges and then turn to go down Station Trail. that originally it was a sign that said Station Trail this way. And I think the post got broken at some point, or the sign got removed.
Yeah, August timeframe.
So there is a post there now that's been reinstalled with a no motorized vehicle sign. But we don't have the original Station Trail sign. So I don't know that it was necessary to tell people to make a hard right there, or if people are just doing that intuitively, or if there's enough small signage up.
Right.
But it's just an observation that what was originally there is not.
Yeah, because if people go straight, that's private property.
Private property.
Right.
So would you like to see that new metal, aluminum sign there, or something I can whip up in the workshop with a router?
It doesn't matter to me. It's just the original sign is gone.
Yeah.
So it's just noting that. But we do have our small diamond shaped Station Trail signs. So we could
Sure.
always,
There's still one just before that with an arrow, is
okay,
it?
yeah.
But it's
So we could always.
not
put one-
nearly as obvious as it was.
Right. We put one in that location with the arrow, or perhaps if whatever the original intent was of that larger sign. Assuming that still stands, then just getting a replacement.
Yeah.
The post is in place. I don't know if we need a no motorized vehicle sign in that particular location. So,
Sorry, you said there is a no motorized sign on the now, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
so when, I think the whole post got removed at some point or broken. So when the
Okay.
post went back in, it went back in with a no motorized vehicle sign, whereas originally it didn't have that. It had the Station Trail this way sign.
Oh.
So now we
okay.
have kind of the wrong sign.
Right.
So
It's no harm leaving that on, putting an additional.
No harm.
Does the township have a preference?
It would just be getting that replacement sign.
Okay. Okay, well, what, does the committee have a preference?
Let's say.
Well, I think it-
It looked
Yeah, the
nice.
memo.
It is important to direct people onto Station Trail because anything beyond that hairpin curve is not under our jurisdiction. And so we can't be held liable, although it's useful to be informed of any downed trees or anything else on the rest of the rail trail as it proceeds towards Fallis Line. But that isn't for us to maintain. So it really does behoove us to have a sign that points people where we want them to go. An area that we're maintaining and that we're, surveying regularly and is under
Okay.
regular use.
Yeah, all right, so, are we still using the price of coffee points? Okay.
We can order that if you'd like.
Okay.
Do you want us to?
Sure, if you want to do that. yeah.
Because to me, it's a safety issue if people are gonna continue to go
Yeah.
straighter on private property.
Yeah,
We can
yeah,
do
I
that.
don't know if you remember that, what happened, there was some damage and they
Yeah.
pushed off the railing to one of the bridges too, at
Mhm.
the same time.
Mhm.
But-
So why don't we
The
order
only-
Station Trail with an arrow? Why don't we do that
And now it's pointing to the right.
to the right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the right.
Okay.
Mhm.
We need a motion for that? No?
We're just gonna go ahead.
We're just gonna go ahead and order it.
Okay.
Okay.
excellent, Thank you. Any other comments or questions around the trail report? Okay, I have a motion to receive the trail report from myself. and Mr. Hilton. Okay, seconded by Donna, all in favor? Great, thank you very much. All right, moving on to general business. 8.1, new development trail update. This is something we had asked for at the end of last year, just sort of what was going on. I know things are sort of changing all the time, but Yvette, are you able to update us?
Absolutely. Certainly. So I did provide Carly with a couple maps, just so that you could sort of see where the trail system is. And I brought some bigger maps that I just received as well, just in case you want to see it. So the trail system for Tower Hill North is highlighted in yellow, as well as the realignment for the water courses there too. So you'll see the bigger line, and then you'll see, it's hard to say, but there's like dots, and then that's the trail system. So this is a better, I didn't have this at the time. This will show where the trail system is here. And I can provide this to Carly after. And then this will show, this is the water course, and then the yellow shows where the trail system is. Sorry, I'll pass that around if you like.
And just,
So that's for Tower Hill North.
right, and so where, what, south of the road there, and follow line, like where does the yellow come on? Does that align with
Yes,
one
it
of the,
does.
one of the streets?
Yeah. Yes, so,
Okay,
so what you can't, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the top, okay, so then this is Fallis Line here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and there's the trail system, and then your water course, okay? The water course will go under the road and it goes over to what you'll see here, which is a pond area, but oh, sorry, excuse me, I'm backwards. There we go. There we go. So, but the trail system will continue and it goes all the way through, goes all the way down. Doesn't have a water course on this side because this is where everything goes to the outflow of the pond, but the trail system will connect. So everything, sorry, Lambert,
no,
everything connects basically from here, then Fallis Line, which is here,
right,
and then it connects all the way down. Okay,
so there's public right of way through there?
like as a public trail.
Yeah,
Is that what you mean?
like to be able to cross follow line.
So so there'll be sidewalks on Fallis Line, of course, but you'll be able to continue walking along either a sidewalk as well as a trail system. Okay, so it's all connected. That's what was asked when they came and made their presentations. I know it seems a long time ago, it's like years ago. But the connection has been made and the connection trail system will go all the way down to Station Trail.
Okay.
So eventually it'll be from up here and then all the way across Fallis and then all the way down, and then it'll connect around the pond on Tower Hill South and then connect into Station Trail. I think the intent from this, what I can see here, and I'm just waiting for confirmation, is eventually you could also potentially have a trail connection here straight through instead of going around the pond over here.
Could you just orient me on this map, please? So Fallis Line is.
Fallis Line is
this
here.
north,
Yes, so this is Fallis Line. Okay,
and 10 would be over here.
the
somewhere?
10 is over here. So this
Oh.
is north. This is south.
Okay.
Okay, so over here, you'll have Tower Hill South,
Okay.
and the trail system is down here for Station Trail.
Okay.
Okay, so this proposed development here will have a trail system, and that was a request from Millbrook Valley Trails years ago, that the trail system here connects with the north trail system, which comes up through here.
But I guess my question to that is
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
There's, you're not, like, that's gonna be public right of way, like,
Yes.
you're not gonna be traversing through somebody's backyard.
No, it's public. Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
okay,
yes.
Because the houses start sort of here.
Yeah, so the house is actually, this is actually, no houses are here,
Right.
right next door. You have a pond here, no houses are here, and the houses start here. It's actually open space here.
But this is.
A pond. This area here is a pond.
So.
Yeah, the
Hands is taller?
No, so this is the Tower Hill South over here. These houses, this is Tower Hill South here,
Right,
okay? This development backs onto Tower Hill South.
okay, yeah.
Okay, this is Fallis.
Yeah.
There's this development has two ponds, one at the top
Mhm.
because of the outflow. Where am I going? From the outflow to the realignment of the water course.
Yeah.
That's why this pond is identified here.
Right.
Okay. This is open space here, so there's no houses right next to it, and the houses start over here.
Is that,
Sorry.
could it be parkland or?
So this is all, it'll be all park.
All park,
It'll
okay.
actually come to, eventually it'll be the ownership, all of this open space area, and connection will be property of the township.
Okay,
Okay, that's in the agreement.
and have they agreed as to what is the trail going to be?
So right
Paved
now
trail?
right now the trail system is the same as they did at a Station Trail, which is limestone. Yes, it's all just natural limestone, that's it. And there's a whole trail, there's a whole system of tree planting, which is a requirement.
Okay.
Actually from Orca, the whole tree system that will be planted naturally along the water course and along the trail system.
Do they have a way up the trail?
You know what, I can't read
That'd be a
that.
lot wider.
Yeah, I can't.
Similar to. what we
I
talked
can
about.
come back to you.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I need a magnifying glass on
But
that one.
it's not gonna be any less wide. than-
Oh, no. The whole intent was to match it with the trail that we already have.
Okay,
So I don't see and foresee any issue whatsoever.
and will there be
I can-
benches along the route, or is that for us to determine?
That for us, anything to do with FF&Es, like such as benches or garbage receptacles or anything or recycling, the municipality will be responsible for that.
Right, so
Yes.
that's an application.
Absolutely, absolutely. But as we know, this was approved a long time ago and the market is the market out there right now and it's quite slow. So I'll be honest with you.
That was gonna be our next question. Timing.
I knew you were gonna ask me. Oh, depends upon the market right now.
Yeah.
So right now, as you know, last year they started doing the grading and preparing for the infrastructure. The infrastructure has not been put in the ground. The intent is that would take place in 2024. So I don't see anything. I feel like there's gonna be a full year of that before we see anything. So we're probably looking towards 2025.
True. I'm still, I think you said this is the site where County Road 10 is that correct?
So over.
That follows up here.
John through, yeah, so that's the next development, which is currently the development that we have on here now. So the house is back to back.
Yeah, but it's like, this is the one that's already been, already
So this
built.
is all built here.
Yeah.
Yes, and if you went out that way, you would, County Road 10, and this is Follis.
Yeah.
These houses here are already
But this-
done.
This one, this line
Oh.
here isn't gonna line up with this one exactly, is it?
Yes. Yes, the intent is that it will be lined up. Yes,
But these are the houses that are built now?
this area here, I'm not sure where you're
Sorry,
pointing,
oh,
but
this
it's
line,
okay.
this is
Yeah.
for the house, this is a new
Yeah,
subdivision.
this is Follis line. This is all new. It hasn't been developed yet.
Okay.
This one over here is what we referred to, John, as Tower Hill South. That's been developed. And then if you went over further, you'll see County Road 10 is over here.
Okay, so this is.
These
this
houses
is-
here will back onto each other here. And if you go down into the development here, you'll see that open line of connection will connect the two developments eventually. Yes.
And Rebecca, do you know, is this the
School.
location of the future school?
That is
Okay,
correct.
so it'd be great to be for one.
Absolutely. That's the whole intent.
Sorry,
Yes.
where's the future school?
It's right here.
The
this
big
is-
square out to the left.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not really. Go ahead, Lauren.
Just a couple things. Is there still talk of building a new elementary school west of what we see of the new development on Follis Line?
Yes. It's in your drawing.
That's right there. Okay, that's what that is. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then in terms, there's going to be a lot of traffic on Follis Line. What provision will be made for safe passage across Follis Line from one part of the trail to another? Will it be marked somehow?
It would have to be, Maureen, all of that would have to be identified as a crossing area.
Right.
Yeah, so that would have to be marked. I don't have that. I didn't have that question prior to, so I didn't bring those drawings, but yes, it's a public area, a public access area to go from one side to the other. So
Okay.
regarding safety, especially if you're having, whether the kids are anyone's using the trail system or whether they're actually going to the current school system before the new school is built, we would have to make sure that they have a proper crosswalk area.
All right. And then as you cross Follis Line and you come across to the trail that you've identified as being exactly opposite, so that they're not having to make a diagonal across Follis Line. That implies to me that no use whatsoever is going to be made of the rail line that is currently privately owned by developers and goes up toward Fallis Line from the station trail hairpin curve. So that still remains, does it? As it is?
Following the route.
Yeah, so Maureen just asking, so what we just previously talked about,
Okay.
we're gonna put a new sign to force users up to stay on station
Oh.
trail rather than straight along the rail line, which
Yeah.
is privately owned.
That's correct.
That's all, we can't do anything about that because it's privately.
No, but it looks from their drawings that this, I'm sorry, Maureen. If
No
you can
worries,
pull-
I get it, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so, if you look at the bottom area where the other, keep going down, yeah, see, there you go. Okay, so there's another pond area there.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if you go over to the left, which is, where you see this connection here. Which is, yeah, right there, yeah. So it looks like there could be potentially a new connection there at some time. That's on the drawing, but that's not what was presented. That piece is showing up now, but what was presented was a connection over to the pond that's existing now, and then around the pond down to Station Trail.
Okay.
So that's something that we'll still be working with them and fine tuning what takes place. I don't know if that's just an error on this drawing. I'm not sure, but that's it.
I get it, it's sort of side, but is it the plan of subdivision you submitted for that? area?
So the plan, this is the plan to subdivision?
No, for the, where the existing trail are coming through, like where.
No, that's just, yeah. And I believe that that area will stay as a natural area. There will be no housing in that area at all. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, just
All good.
so interested in preserving any mature trees that we have, because that's going to be pretty blank space for quite a while. You know, once it's assigned to us as a trail, even though the stuff that Orca helps us put in grows much faster than any of us believed possible, it's still not, you know, huge foliated trees and shade and cooling area and stuff like that. So any other parts of existing rail beds that already have built up cedar and deciduous trees around them, we should be trying really hard to preserve. And that includes the portion of the old rail bed that swings off toward Lindsay, which we're not even discussing here at all, but that is more treed in places. It isn't really part of this portion of the development, but we have to be thinking ahead to preserve as many mature trees as possible. Not super
Right.
elevated trees, but
The yellow line now, Maureen, there's not a tree we have in that.
There's
area
no, sorry.
currently.
Well, because the water course had to be completely moved
Yeah.
over, so the whole water
Yeah.
course, but there are conditions under Dillon. Orca's been very good to ensure that there'll be tree plantings and items like put into that trail, like the water course itself.
Mhm.
But there's nothing there. It's all been graded. Yeah, no.
Mhm.
Do you have-
Well, with that in
additional
mind, sorry. With that in mind, could we start planting deciduous trees around the water, around the ponds? So that there's some shade available there?
We can't, Maureen, we can't plant anything on this property because we don't own it. It's the
Right.
developer's property at this time. They have to adhere to all the conditions outlined in the agreement and all the agency conditions. So once they've done all of that, they are required to do a lot of planting as they did in the Tower Hill South as well. Once that is done and we assume that development, then it would be our development. But until we assume it is the developer's responsibility to carry out all the conditions pertaining to what is required for that development.
Okay. Understood.
Any comments?
Main comment, I'm not sure really how important it is, but in an ideal world, I would like to see this I'm looking at the current existing subdivision of where the trails are on a up-to-date map, because this is not where the roads are on the actual.
So you have to understand, this is not this is their development
I
at
know.
this time,
I
and
think that's
once that
preliminary.
gets done, then we would have updated number or areas and roads and all of that. but that's not what we have right at this moment. This is the development we have right now.
But you don't have plans of how the development actually exists now?
No, this is it. There's multiple plans. I only brought you one sample of one plan.
Are you
But I'm not talking about the
existing?
new one, I'm talking about the existing one, this existing one.
No,
No,
that's
that's not the
no,
existing
that's no, that's a new
gonna
one.
be built
Kurt.
west of the current.
Yeah,
I think that's the real head there, isn't it?
I'm
So
sorry.
the,
No, no, it's valid point.
yeah, but Forest Line keeps going across
Yeah.
to the current subdivision. and
This
it
isn't
here's
about
County
the
Road.
current development. This is
That's
the
the real
proposal
head
for
right
a
there.
new development.
Yeah, that is the road.
It's
Oh,
not new.
Completely.
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
what you're asking me, yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes
Yeah.
sense, yeah.
But if you're asking about the current road or the current or development that's already been developed,
Yeah, yeah.
we have just assumed that at the end of 2023. That's the first time. So
Yeah,
we've
no,
now
I-
just assumed
I was
that
just
road
totally confused,
or that development.
because this doesn't match the current existing subdivision,
Because
which
it's
makes
different.
sense.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
That's
That's
what
okay.
I mean for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
ago, so.
It's okay.
I'm very slow, don't worry.
No, no.
No, I wouldn't put it that way.
All right.
Okay.
And then at the north end of the trail, as it emerges at County Road 10, what would be opposite that on County Road 10 on the east side? Just to give me an
So
idea.
right now, so right now it's vacant property across the road, Maureen. But in our official plan, it's been identified as employment.
Okay,
And, you know, you can see where the municipal office is, and then we're building, of course, the new fire station.
mhm.
Can I just follow up and clarify? So that line here would be the existing
That's
subdivision?
correct. You've got that, yeah.
Perfect.
Any other questions?
Just on this, where the trail is existing, do you know what this shaded area is? Like, is that likely?
The old,
That is the rail bed?
that is the old
Okay,
rail bed,
that makes
yes.
sense.
It sort of comes up in all the previous drop, it comes
Okay.
through. And so that's why
They
they
just
sort of
sort of
followed it as
catch
much, as best they could.
Okay.
And eventually all of this,
Are
open
tho- are those
space.
Contour lines that are creating.
Yes.
Oh, so it's just.
These are
because
all
of the
contour.
steep embankment.
yes, yeah, those are all contour lines. So eventually they followed the area as much as they could, and that was also a request by the public to do so. So that's what they've done there. And they also wanted to line it up.
My only other question was, so if we're doing limestone screenings, that's fine. I just wonder if there might be some desire at some point to have a paved walkway. And, just thinking, with all these people that got bikes and scooters and kids
Mhm.
going to school, and so, that may become more desirable. Do you have any idea if it could be built in such a way that allows for asphalting?
I don't have that
future?
answer, but I can certainly check that.
It might be worth asking just if it happens to be that, they can just do it this way or they can do it that way, and it's whatever we choose and it doesn't make any difference in cost. It might,
So paving would be our responsibility as a
Yeah.
municipality. It would not be the developer's responsibility, but the
Yes,
base,
the
I
base,
think
the
is what
base
you're
is what I'm
asking.
asking,
I
yeah.
can certainly check
Yeah.
that with engineering. Okay.
It would be great.
John?
Yeah.
I guess the question that follows from that. If, accessibility. We're supposed to be accessible by 2025. And following up on what you're saying, it would almost seem that pavement would be required. To make that accessible for people who, using wheelchairs and such.
And with that, so that brings another question, is if you pave it, you automatically have to plow it?
So through you,
Yes.
Chair, I do just want to clarify, with the words around accessibility. It's really important to know that all types of surfaces can be accessible. Yes, there's some surfaces, say a paved surface, that might be your most accessible surface. However, things like wood chips and playgrounds are also accessible. It's also about the incline of trails, how you can enter it. So there's a lot of factors, and it's a very important one to consider. But going right to paving isn't necessarily, the first option to have that accessible checker.
But it doesn't mean, so what we're saying is they do what's required as the development. And if anything over and above, that would be a conversation that all of us have. If you wanted to have So I think the question for Dave, like that Dave raised, is if you have limestone on the base and you building it to a certain standard, would it be possible to pave that eventually, or consider that paving?
Would you have to scrape all?
Or would you have to scrape that off and do
Start
that?
again.
Exactly. So I don't know that answer, but I can certainly find that out. And what Carly's alluding to is correct. So there's different factors on what is accessible.
It may have
That will
repercussions.
obviously a conversation.
It may have repercussions in terms of water drainage, like limestone is a much more porous surface than asphalt would be, and light reflection and heating and all of those concerns as well. But from the point of view of biking, Dave, you think that asphalt would be a better surface than the kind of limestone that they have going up to the subdivision now from Station Trail?
Oh, I'm just thinking of for something like this, where it's basically a community pathway that's free of cars, that to make it the most versatile. I think asphalt's good because, you know, then you get kids on skateboards, rollerblades, scooters, whatever it is. You know, easier for people to push a stroller down without having to have larger wheels on it. I think it's more versatile for this type of setting. And I'm just picturing paved pathways in cities and how well used they are. So I mean, I think that just having anything to start is fantastic. It was just, you know, down the road, are we?
Yeah,
I think this is nice to have.
an issue we now have to deal with.
Mhm.
Yeah. That answer would be interesting. If you get it.
Absolutely.
Any other discussion before we move on? Okay. That's the motion to do that. Done? Oh, 8.2 Med Trail fence. So Maureen brought this up, I believe, in October and November meeting. So this is the fence that looks out onto the Stevens field with the sort of halfway point around the loop. It's been deteriorating for years and then now it's basically gone. It's our understanding that, and predates my time, but it's our understanding that we built that fence. Members of the committee was responsible for building that.
Sounds familiar, yeah. I can't remember actually building it, but.
No,
It wasn't in my time. We never built it.
Really?
So no,
But
we
it-
didn't build it. So I don't know.
I think it was kind of in a not as dilapidated state that then it was sort of rebuilt a bit, reinforced if I remember rightly, and then it sort of happened again, but I'm not sure if it was an official effort or
okay,
it was just kind of done.
right, because it's like I just sort of assumed that John, what was it, the old guy who did the all the railroad and stuff.
So
Yeah, no.
Don?
I know, it was really well built because it had, you know, it had mortars and stuff. It was, you know, it was sort of hanging together. Regardless, it needs to be replaced, and Marie, you had a brief discussion with Stevens and they would like to see it replaced.
Yeah,
because
I did.
we're going into-
Yeah, so I did speak with him, and his feeling was that if it could be replaced by a similar rail fence, if you recall, it was a thick, full cedar round posts and full rail, 2 horizontals and several verticals on each section. The sections, to my mind, were a bit too wide to be stable. I think it would be better if we had another post. And the ends, I did send a picture to staff just to give them a sense of how it sat next to the wire fences that went down on either side of it. There's always been an opening at one end that sort of encouraged people to walk through. But it's become, as more and more and more people who are not used to rural environments move to the area, there isn't the sense of private property that maybe there should be. And there have been a lot of people climbing over the fence, climbing through the fence, taking pieces of the fence down the trail and going through the opening at the side of the fence, enough so that there is an obvious trail now on the south side of the lookout. So, you know, pictures of that field have appeared on Facebook posts, and the farmer who farms it certainly hasn't been granting permission to these people to be in there taking photos and that kind of thing. So, and he brings farm equipment in there, and they hope at some point to pasture large animals there, cattle there. So it would be a good idea to fix the fence. Now, the one thing I neglected to ask was whether Mr. Stevens, who farms the land, actually owns it. Do you happen to know, John, who would own the land beyond the lookout?
I assume it's the family.
I'm pretty sure that if you were talking to Brandon.
It is
you're talking to
Brandon, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not him that owns it, but it's Bob and or one of his brothers that
Paul
owns
Stevens'
the
land.
corporation, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the corporation.
Mhm.
So it needs to be, yeah, so it needs to be replaced. I certainly think it's within our abilities to do it. I agree with Maureen that maybe we should go from a 2-post to maybe a 3-post. I think we could sink those posts with the help of, you know, I think some shovels and things would work, but we could set them with the same sort of quick set that we use for some other posts along the trail. Obviously, I don't think we can do it till the spring. Certainly can't get into the ground till it thaws. But there didn't seem to be, other than you with your initial conversations with Brandon, like you said, he just sort of would like to see something similar. So there's no real requirement to do anything extra special. But I agree that we should close up those areas that are somewhat open, even with the original one. But it's going to require new wood, and if we want it to look like the old fence with the circular cedars, then that's going to require purchase because we only have dimension one there. So does the township have any concerns or thoughts on what should be done or needs to be done or look?
I think through you, Mr. Chairman, to the committee, we did talk about it internally with staff, and you know, we're happy to, you know, assist in repairing it. I mean, that's fine, whatever the committee wishes to do, but.
Yeah, I think repair is off the table. I mean,
So-
there's nothing like that.
So I guess the question comes down to a budget. You know, if you, I'm not sure what that cost would be to do that. That's not that much. Okay. So you do have your budget, so that's fine. If you need the township to assist, Chris said that he's more than happy to assist as well for staff. But I would also suggest, given what Maureen's alluded to, I'd probably suggest we put a sign up as well with regards to, you know, private property, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
But we're here to help, and if you want to go ahead and we can do that, we're happy to help do that as well.
Okay, well, I suggest we put on the work plan, which is coming up the next thing we need to discuss. Because I don't think it can really be done until the spring anyway, as I said. But if we wanted to do, I mean, my initial thought was just if we wanted to go back to the circular cedar logs, we could just get a couple of 10-footers from TSC and do it that way. But I'm open to suggestions, John.
Well, I was just, was thinking, you know, you could build a gate just out of a 2x6. If it's gonna be in 2 sections,
Oh, yeah.
would it be wider than 16 feet?
Maybe, yeah, it depends how
much it is.
It depends where we're gonna be able to sink those posts on either end. But I think definitely a center post, if not 2, if we need it. But we're not gonna do an open one.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the dimensional would work as well. It's just.
I don't know whether it'd be any cheaper than.
Well, those I use those cedar logs for other things. I mean, they're not expensive. You know, you can generally get them on sale. But I mean, you know, six or 8 inch diameter, 8 feet, 10 feet long. 25 bucks.
I will trust your judgment on
Yeah,
it.
well, I think let's just put it on the work plan and we'll look at it again in the spring. And you can order appropriate signs at that time too. Anybody have any other questions or concerns around that? Okay, then let's move on to the work plan, please. Okay, so did you have a specific way you wanted to do this?
We were just hoping that since we now have another year under our belt, and with it being a new year, the budget request has been put forward as is, but we really would like the committee to go through what the previous work plan was and identify if these are still your priorities as you move forward, and if there's anything new or outstanding items that need to be added to the work plan. So just do a really good cleanup so that we can kind of focus on these items as we move forward for the remainder of the term.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, so let's start with number one, trail master plan update. So we, talked about this a lot. Apparently I'm on the subcommittee. It's under review with respect to comments by email from the committee, which I don't remember getting any really. Is this,
This is a very old work.
yeah,
That's right, master plan.
Master plan,
Yeah.
Trails master plan.
well, yeah, well, the way you're saying this is,
The updates are.
but we're talking specifically, number one, talking about the master plan.
20.
John?
So I guess when I see master plan update, I think of the master plan that we have now. And to actually do a master plan update, I think we'd be looking at a serious budget thing with it. And so if we can, I guess I don't see how we can do anything as far as a real update. I mean, we can talk about whether we have things we need to add to the current plan, but unless we're planning on spending a lot of time, a fair bit of money, I don't think we're going to. Looking at the completion date, it's not going to be December 2024. And I think maybe the conversation about it came up when we were talking about related to the North Trail expansion. And I think maybe what we learned over the years is we don't really have much control as a committee over the North Trail expansion. If that's what these maps that we were just looking at, and I think that's what we were talking about with the North Trail expansion. So I guess personally, I'm disinclined to suggest we should undertake a master plan update unless council wants to sponsor it and fund it, because it's like we can make recommendations, and I'm guessing you have received some comments about it. Or, but I don't think it's practical. If we're going to put a completion date on it, I wouldn't think it'd be December 2024, and whether it'll be in this current committee's mandate, I don't know. So that's where I would start the conversation and then see whether staff wants to comment or whether other people on the committee think we should be doing anything.
Was there some sort of driving force for updating the master plan a couple of years ago when this went on? There was a bit of discussion, but did anything get started? Was it just something that got thrown on here, or was it?
Yeah, I
was
mean,
it a
there were
work in progress?
couple of catalysts, some which are very, but I guess before what I would ask you that, like, is there a requirement in the township as to how often these types of things need to be updated?
Not for, through you, Mr. Chairman, to the committee, there's not a time limit on these types, like when there is with other planning documentation. However, it is very outdated. I think that the new Parks and Recreation Strategic Plan has identified the importance of trail development and open space, et cetera, in there. And I haven't really sat to compare the two, but it might be important to take a look at that new Parks and Recreation Strategic Plan and take a look at where they've highlighted the importance of trails and the securing of future trails And maybe that will sort of answer a question whether or not you necessarily need to do or consider wanting to do a trails, like a full-blown trails master plan.
Right.
Maybe you could do a spin-off from that, but there should be, I would recommend or consider that we take a look at that sections in that parks and recreation strategic plan and see if it gets you where you want to be, or if we maybe want to add to that somehow.
Okay. Okay, so I'll review
I can,
yeah, okay. It's ready.
it was
Complete?
it was supported by council.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember looking at it before. I don't think it goes into like
Doesn't go into the detail, it just talks about the
the
importance
North
to.
Cabin Swamp extension.
Yeah, so we might want to maybe we can take a look and see where we want to explore new trail development.
So, yeah, all right, so if you want to put it on in, or we can.
I don't think we have to do a master plan update to move forward with some of the other projects we have talked about. I know that, at least I understand this one's pretty close to Dave's heart. And I didn't mean to suggest that can't be accomplished within the current plan, because I think that's all part of, the ongoing stuff, but to try to undertake a complete update would be fairly serious.
Should that just be retitled to review instead of update?
We may want to add,
Yeah. To that, I'm just wondering, is this our opportunity to put a wish list in, if it were, all things being equal, if it were possible to work with developers to protect those rail beds and thoroughfares that are already well treed and could provide natural trail access, like the rail bed that goes north of the Station Trail hairpin curve to Fallis Line, like the road that goes toward Cedar Valley from the top of Fallis at County Road 10, like any other corridor. The rail bed that goes from Fallis Line and then curves up toward Lindsay. Those are natural possibilities for trails, and there may be other natural possibilities for mountain bike trails, in particular along farm fields, that would provide connection from concession to concession that is off County Road 10 and gives the riders greater protection than they have now. Those types of things, would we submit those as part of a trail master plan?
Through you, Chair, I just have more of a question for the committee, because it's a little bit difficult with these types of plans, these guiding tools. If the committee isn't quite interested in doing an actual update, those updates go rigorously through the committee and then to council for final endorsement. I'm not sure if we're just taking comments but not going to do that actual update. I don't know about spending the time on that item, or if there's other higher priority areas. Maybe that's just something to consider.
Yeah, I think we need to take a look at the trail master plan, what we have there and what's been identified. It alludes to what Maureen's talking about and the new trail. I still think we need to compare the two documents and see, just dive in there a little bit closer on those before we make any comment or any suggestion about anything. Because some of the trails have been done, some of them can't be done, some of them we don't own. Some of them we could potentially consider. So I think it's a bigger question that we can't answer today, is where I'm going with that. So I think if we take a look, council just adopted the Parks Recreation plan and supported the Parks Recreation strategic plan in December. And I think we should just maybe take a few minutes, take a look at the Trails Master Plan, but I support John in the aspect of not doing a new trail master plan. But I think we can't answer all the questions, but I think we should take a look and start with that new strategic plan and see where that leads us to where we want to potentially develop. So we can take a report at a later time, but I don't think we can answer that question at this time.
I was just going to suggest, could we put a date on, like, not the next meeting, but if we're going to compare and
Mhm.
whatever, we should do that quickly. The only thing we can really request council to do at this point, I think, would be to consider trails before they dispose of any land that the township owns, because I think we have learned we don't have any input into subdivision plans and that sort of
And
thing.
so
We
that
might
was
find-
supported in December, so we will be taking a look, like, we won't be just disposing lands without consideration. Yes,
So that's
Okay, so why don't we change it to trail master plan review and then I'll look at it. And, completion date of in March.
okay, thank you.
Couple months.
Yeah, and through you, Chair, I'm happy to circulate the past, the plan, the master plan, and then the, I want to say 2010 Trails Master Plan to all of the committees, so you have those two documents.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
Sorry, did you say that you'd circulate the recreation?
Yes.
master plan? Okay.
Yes, we'll do that and the trail master plan, just so you have both of them.
Perfect.
Okay, number two, North Trail expansion. I mean, I think you went through that today. I don't know. Should we remove this or just sort of leave it as is to keep it sort of on the book, so to speak, to make sure that we're continue to be involved?
Could I just suggest that it's sort of put down as ongoing monitoring, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
But there's nothing that we can do. It's done.
Okay, so we'll just move that ongoing monitoring.
Is North Trail referring to like what we talked about today, or is that things like could that be something like the Cabin Swamp? Which
That was my understanding, and that was what I was referring to. So if it doesn't only refer to that, then
Yeah,
not that I want to pursue the Cabin Swamp, but I just don't know if, I just wasn't sure what that was encapsulating. So,
So maybe through you, Mr. Chairman, maybe it would help if we identified the development and then you know exactly what we're speaking to.
I see, yeah,
Would
it's a
that-
bit too
that might be
broad.
more, because we can, the approved development has names, so why don't we put those names in there and then that way you know what we discussed.
Makes sense.
Okay.
okay. Number three, this has been around for a long time, GIS mapping. So those of you that remember, we was funding students, so when they took this work, and then, you know, we were going to sort of just encapsulate it with, when an improved online presence and QR codes for pamphlets and signage. So it hasn't really gone anywhere. I think that was partly due to the committee, but also the fact that we didn't have any real GIS expertise on the committee or within the township. I don't know whether that has changed or what sort of we want to do with this.
Through you, Chair, and I'm so sorry to put you on the hot seat. David did meet with staff and showed us his online tool, how I think he made the trail system for MBT and
Oh,
the
right, yes.
mapping. And that was a really cool, innovative tool. So not GIS, but just letting the community know there is other options out there. And I think David is the most expert about it.
Well, so that was trailforks.com,
Yeah.
which I think has come up in the past. So I mean, typically you're just using your phone to get the mapping, like the GIS track, and then uploading it. I'm sorry if I spaced out and missed it, but was there more GIS mapping to be done? Because I thought the Fleming project was completed and.
I might go back to Meredith for this. I mean, I believed it was basically complete, but then weren't we going to sort of merge it with stuff that the county had in discussions with Tammy Sigma? I don't know, do you have any sort of memory of that, Meredith?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, my understanding was that discussions were initiated with Tammy Sigma at the county, and she was going to basically take that over. I would have to look back on my notes to see the details, but yeah, my understanding was that it just had moved fully over to the county in discussions with the municipality.
And then CAO was to approve county rate for GIS analysts, I assume that.
Yeah, so the county, I think originally the county, I can't speak for the county. But I think originally they were working with the committee to try to see what they could do. So the county does not actually do that work anymore. They do the work, but they actually charge you. So there is a total cost even for a municipality. There's certain limitations of what their work is, and these extra things. I think what's happened is because all the municipalities, the lower tiers, don't have GIS, so everyone goes to the county to say, "Help me, please," and they've been wonderful to help us. I think now the pushback is they have their role and responsibility in these extra duties or interests that they could potentially do. They're going to charge for that kind of.
Right.
So I think it never went anywhere, is my
Yeah.
understanding.
So are we saying that basically we could do what we want to do with something like trail forks and not have to?
Yeah,
Do
to
the-
a lower level of accuracy, but I think an acceptable level of accuracy. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my opinion.
Just so I'm clear, Dave, is everything, is it kind of exportable, or is everything sort of basically through trail forks? Do you kind of get what I mean?
Yes. So you can certainly import the GIS data or like a GPS track. So I don't know if you can export it, but I suspect you can, but I'd have to check on that. Is that your concern, is whether you can you have all the data there, but then can you extract it so you can use it elsewhere?
That's what I was thinking. I mean, I don't have an aversion to essentially, MPT page and link into trail forks, whatever. I was just more curious.
Yeah.
What that could look like.
Right. I think there are ways to reproduce that curve or the trail if you're not able to download it, even just taking a screen capture and tracing it to then go on a sign.
I mean, because I would guess virtually all the MPT trails are probably already in trail forks anyway.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah, and then they're flagged as being hiking only or not hiking or
Right.
multi-use.
Yeah. So maybe it's just provide a link, and we could, you could still do a screenshot
Mhm.
of it, but then have it hyperlinked out to the trail forks. I mean, because is it? I'm also getting confused. All of the mountain bike trails, any of those on all trails as well, or you have to look?
I haven't looked.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't
Because
uploaded
that's
it
the other-
myself, but
Yeah.
I'm sure some of them are. Some of them would have done that.
Yeah, because that's what I was more thinking. I was getting confused, and I only just realised because trail forks is more mountain bike based, but it's all trails,
Right.
all trails.
Yeah. Well, I know Trailforks has started incorporating all these other uses as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, okay.
But that, yeah, it's been an afterthought for them, whereas someone else may have already established themselves as the go-to spot for hiking trails, like probably all trails.
Yeah. Again, I mean, that is, I think it originated hiking trails, but I know that they have a bit of everything on there as
Doing
well.
that,
So,
yeah, they might be competing with each other
Yeah.
at this point.
so maybe it's certainly on all trails, it's pretty cool, and all trail forks. Most of the stuff is already there, and then it's just a question of we could upload any that are missing, like maybe the little side loop to go back to Creek there,
Yeah, that's
or, something like that. But maybe it's just as simple as if that's good enough, which sounds like we're kind of in agreement that it is.
Yeah.
But we can just update it at that point.
Okay, so what do we do then with number 3? Do we remove it from the work plan, or do we replace it with the trail forks initiative?
Certainly, I think, in terms of task progress within that section, I think that can pretty much be removed in terms of nothing's really relevant there. And then I'd be happy to sort of look at that in terms of comparing and contrasting trail forks and all trails, see what's more complete. So you can put me down as, and I'll report back on that next month.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Otherwise, my only question is, what was the goal of this? Was it to update our brochures and our trail maps? Or was there another purpose?
Yeah, it all sort of leads back to, we still need to print. I'd like to see the signage back at the trailhead, right?
Yeah.
Like at Stowberry Street, and we need
Updated
signage
sign.
at Field School, which is number 7.
And the M&R property.
On our property, just, update it, at the station trail as well, and, in a couple of years, presumably, the North Trail extension. So, I think, I think it was the updated, brochure signage, the ability to do something digitally with QR code and stuff. We had talked at one time about, having sort of an interactive, flora and fauna, wildlife type of thing. I think that can still come, but that's a lot of time. I think we just look at the trail and sign stuff.
Yeah, I think to my mind, following up on that, the more immediate, obvious advantages to having it would be to, have it so that it's much more, as you guys have done for the biking trails, have like the contour, profile, which all trails have as well. And so, it just that extra bit of information that people could have on their phone on the go.
Yeah. Okay, so we can add that to number 3. Apparently there's no number 4. We go to number 5. John Collins, what was the result of this in terms of
I think, basically, it's a doable thing to extend it. Part of we kind of got sideswiped when the direct trail went through, and then the link to the Ganaraska trails was cut off. Has that been resolved, or is there no access from our trail now?
There's no access from our trail.
So I don't know, from the standpoint of saying the trail goes to Glamorgan, I don't think there was anything to stop us doing that, was there? In all the conversations that kind of became more a question. I think Ganaraska didn't like the idea because it might encourage people to go in from that section. From the standpoint of should we do it or not do it, I think from my standpoint, I was still waiting to hear what happened with Ganaraska, and I guess that's kind of become irrelevant at this point. Unless we can ask them if, maybe we should be going back now to say, like, do you know from a staff standpoint, talking to them, whether they have said they're just never going to let us go back in there?
So through you, Mr. Chairman, we've had no correspondence from them. So we were to have an agreement. We asked for a copy of the agreement to review. We talked about having that access to go over. But we haven't had anything back from them. So maybe that's something we need to reach out and find out where that is. We've never received an agreement.
Like from the standpoint of the Trails Committee, I think most of us just walk in there anyway if we want to.
Knowing that we're not trespassing.
We're on the fire route, which is an unopened road on us. So I'm guessing there's nothing illegal about that. You can correct me, seeing as how I won't be offended if you correct me on that. The question is whether there's a benefit to Millbrook Valley Trails to encourage that. Whether there's because of the fact that Glamorgan is part of some of the bigger trail systems, one could say, if you're hiking northwards, you could walk into Millbrook and stay at a bed and breakfast and those sorts of things. I'm not sure whether that would be practical if I'd want to walk that far and then walk back the next morning. Might be more practical for people who are touring on bikes.
Mhm.
So anyway, I'd like,
Well, through you, Mr. Chairman, why don't we reach, Councillor Natchoff is our rep. Right? Yes. So why don't we ask, maybe we ask him to follow up on where they're at and report back, because we did have a whole list of questions to for them to answer, and we still haven't got an answer on that yet. So let's see where they're at on that, because we still have an interest to be able to expand that.
if the committee does, if the committee's thinking it's not worth the effort, then we could let it go, but.
I think it's a really important connection.
It
I
is,
think,
I
yeah.
agree.
Can I clarify, has been explored and previously established that is unquestionably township land, that Dale Road level?
We're talking about Fire Route 3.
Yeah,
Like
That's
basically, yeah,
talking about
yeah.
the connection.
Yeah, but it is fire rate,
Yeah.
fire rate 3, I
It
think.
is.
Fire rated, yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, and there are survey markers that you can see.
Yeah, it is. road.
Yeah. I went hunting for survey markers.
Well, there's that.
Okay.
I'm on
so-
the I'm on the recreational users committee of the GRCA, and we just, all of us as individual organizations submitted opinions on a survey as to how what our top priorities would be. And certainly my top priority from our end, because I also represent Millbrook Valley Trails in that respect, was continuity across the Tory Bridge onto both hiking and mountain bike trails on the Ganareska property. Among other things, there were lots of other things that that came to me eventually once I nudged people. So hopefully we'll get some response to that, but something formal from the township asking about whether they ever intend to allow us to go in over that bridge would be very appropriate. My only concern about opening the fire route as far as Glamorgan is, how do we discourage or kind of pinch off the potential for ATV traffic coming in the other direction from Glamorgan? Because with an ATV, there's nothing to prevent it from just going right through the creek bed there without looking for a bridge. So what can we do that would keep an ATV from ruining our switchbacks there that
I
approach?
think if you just have it as a single track trail would be a way of certainly discouraging that.
Yeah. Yeah. So always being mindful of that, just that we want to be respectful, that some trails are just not amenable to motorized vehicle use without being utterly destroyed. So.
Okay. So can we put then that Lance will correspond with the Ganareska, and we can have a date that hopefully is February 2024 for our next meeting. Number 6, let's explore an alternative entrance to the fairground entrance. So I think that's ongoing. That needs to be linked to perhaps another work item of the new trail that we've discussed. Linking the fairgrounds trail.
Mhm.
But I think we could maybe again put a date on that of spring of 2024. Unless the township has any issues.
I guess I just have a question, sir. Is that still required when the works took place at Millbrook or at the fairgrounds, all the works they've got? You know, mending the staircase coming down from the fairground? You need 2 entrances in there, I guess, is where we're going at a staff level.
Well, I think it's still to be explored, yeah. We always talked about having a separate entrance there through the fairgrounds. portion that the township owns south of the
Yeah.
east of the gravel road there.
I think
Just so
we-
the users didn't have to go all the way through down Main Street, we could go around to be able to access that.
Okay, so we need, so if that's the intent, then we need to continue to explore, because we need to have conversations with the fair board on that matter as well.
The idea is that you have essentially a trail that connects at both corners of the fairgrounds. So you could get in at either entrance, sorry, either corner of the wooded boundary of the fairgrounds.
Yeah, and my understanding is we needed that entrance because there was some problems with the entrance that was existing.
Being steep
Yeah,
for some
yeah.
people.
And so that's where at a staff level, and we can correct me if I'm wrong. But that was the intention. So could we find a different staircase, a different entrance in instead of having the steep staircase kind of thing down? If the intent is to have two entrances down to that trail, then I think we just need to talk about that a little bit further.
Okay.
The entrance of the fairground is so steep.
It is definitely, of course,
That's
absolutely.
the Staircase.
And I think it's-
That's a separate.
So I think the intention, so is that trail's also obviously a bike entrance, so that's maybe a concern of the steepness and the staircase going down. Is that sort of?
I guess in my mind, it's okay, but I think just if we're trying to just make it more appealing to a broader range of people, then having a less steep option is
Might
good.
an option. Okay.
I think there were a couple of benefits of that particular trail. One being that the existing trail was flooded at the time.
That's right.
And so it does get us over to higher ground. And then at the same time, you can provide an alternate entrance because it's easy to just meet up with that trail at another point since it runs essentially along the back of the fairgrounds.
Okay, so maybe if I may, Mr. Chairman, if we can have a conversation, you can sort of identify where you're going on, where that place is. So maybe we could have a separate conversation of exactly where you're thinking.
Sure.
And then we can take a look about what that entrance might be looking at and where it's connecting to and the intent of that.
Okay.
Okay. And so maybe we can just have a sidebar conversation with that.
Okay, so.
Just so I can familiar myself. I'm not that familiar with it, so.
So should we add the separate word point then of the completion of that trail, or do you think that goes hand in hand with the entrance discussion?
Say that again for me, I'm sorry.
So right now, the item is only talking about the
Entrance.
entrance,
Okay.
but we also need to. My thought was to put it on the work plan for completion of the trail that entrance is going to get.
So I think at a staff level, you need to just sort of have further conversation with us on that.
Okay.
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 So should that be Robert and staff? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Number 7, trail maintenance and repairs. I'm not sure what that item name is. Sort of appropriate, but I think maybe we just want to change it to update of signage. So if you want updated signage, updated brochure, and that would sort of link to item number 3. The truck works and what sort of GIS alternative we're going to go to. So I think if you look at spring of 2024 completion date for that, in terms of exploration thing. Number 8, exploration of trail system to downtown Millbrook. Dave, did you have any?
No, I'm still very much interested in that. I was talking to Chris about, I was trying to nail down property ownership and where there's potential for a trail based on what's publicly owned. And so he had indicated that the recreation master plan has a very good layout of all the properties, with perhaps a map with all the properties that the township owns. Does that
We have
sound
that in the
correct?
new Parks and Recreation strategic plan.
Is that the document that you're going to circulate?
Mhm,
Yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm waiting to see that, and
Okay.
then once I can get a lay of the land, see where the potential options are, then I think we could talk more about that. I do think it's important, so we certainly have connection to downtown via the hiking trail, but I really see a lot of value in having at least some people who are using the trails for mountain biking, parking downtown as opposed to on the fourth line or on, at the end of Elgar, for instance. I think it's just greater benefit to downtown businesses and just the downtown in general. So I'd love to see that go ahead. It's just a matter of seeing where a trail could go. And then taking the next steps. So, so are you looking for a completion date for?
Well, can I ask, I mean, there was some discussion that you and I had briefly about, the potential of a trail above upper. That's, you still thinking that's a possibility?
Yeah,
Okay.
that could work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
It's just a matter of
then they could
determining
park
the ownership.
At the end of the distillery, well, or I guess more ideally, the library.
Well, and Chris was mentioning if is the demolition of the arena going ahead?
Yes.
Okay, so when that space is revitalized, then does that become a trailhead in a sense as well? I don't know. So he was thinking that was perhaps the right time to talk about this more seriously, as building off of the
Visionary
rehabilitation.
exercise we're gonna be doing this
Okay.
year. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that, but yeah, so I'm thinking above, but I just have to see the.
Okay, well, why don't we let's keep it on, because it's certainly something to keep in mind, but we just maybe have an ongoing or a TBA.
Yeah, and is there anything else that needs to happen, in terms of master plan? Like this doesn't have to fall within the master plan in order to go ahead necessarily. Something like this. I'm not saying that this has been approved or is being approved, but are there other steps that need to be taken in order for a downtown connection to become possible that need to be outlined here? Specifically, the master plan update. If it's not in the master plan, does that mean it doesn't go ahead? I guess my question.
So I think you're probably better off if we reference the Parks and Recreation strategic plan.
Okay.
And so that's one. I think if you're asking, do we have to do the visionary exercise for the downtown first before we consider options
That's
for
maybe
the
what I'm asking,
okay.
yeah.
So I think they're both very important, but I think that we could speak with staff about bringing some maps, and even if we had a tabletop discussion here about what those maps look like, we could highlight the properties that the township owns, and maybe we just take a look at it and say, where's those connections? And so I don't think you have to wait, even though I think it's really important that the public is very much involved in that visionary exercise. But maybe before we get to that, we could take a look at the maps and what the township property is on, and then you could tell us what you think, a good, connection route or what you're thinking, and we can have that conversation. So I'm happy to have Chris or us to bring back some property within that vicinity of what we own, and then we can take a look at what we own currently. Not to say that we're not considering more, I'm just saying what we currently have.
Is the map within the recreation plan, is it sort of a usable scale, like you could?
No, we would have to do a separate, no. We would have to, it talks about different areas that we have, but I would probably just have us take a look at properties the township owns and bring them here, and we can print off some mapping, and then we can sort of take a look at, see what makes sense.
Is that something that is doable by next
No.
meeting or not?
No.
But doable, yeah.
It is doable, but I wouldn't say it's at the next one. We're just trying to wrap up our budgets and things like that right now, so.
But this year?
But, no, I'm talking like within the next couple months, yes, oh, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah, just give us some time to get those maps printed off.
Okay, I think we just reference that.
Yeah, but in terms of the parking and the trail access, like it totally could be at the library if we are focusing on that as our main trailhead. Then that
Well, I
it
think
could start there, and you would have a hiking only trail and then a multi-use trail, and they both roughly begin
Right.
in different directions.
But I think it's going to determine the vision for the old arena. How much parking, if any parking is going to be provided, all that sort of stuff.
There'll be some.
Is it, just out of curiosity, is there a timeline for destruction?
Restriction.
Tear down?
We're
Whatever you wanna
in
call
the
it.
middle of our budget right now.
So, yeah.
And I encourage you to take a look at that. It definitely identifies that, the timelines that we're looking at is not this year, but potentially 2025. But first, we have to take a look, and we want to roll out a visionary exercise as well. We're hoping again that council supports that and gets the public involved in what looks, what that downtown is going to look like for a park and a potential building, etc. So
There's already a lot of work been done on that. Through the revitalization.
So the reval, that was a very basic concept plan. So it was only a concept plan. But that does do a base for sure. It's a starting point for sure.
Okay.
And then what takes place after that, hopefully we roll that out in 2024.
Excellent. Okay, design and pamphlet and tag dispenser. So this is ongoing. Lance had approached on this. I always forget the name of the company there, but
It's one of the business.
the plastic.
Taylor's.
Yeah, Taylor. So that business has been sold. So I've been talking to Lance about this. Apparently the new owner is going to design that time yet. So it's ongoing. If I don't want it to go too much longer. So if we don't get any sort of response, I think we need to look at some alternate arrangements or alternate options. So let's put February 2024, and hopefully we can have an update from Lance on that. We put it on the agenda. And if not, then we can explore other options, because I think we were all quite keen to have it done locally, but if that's not going to be an option, then we need to look what else is available, because it would be nice to have the redesigned pamphlets in new boxes. Comes next, yes. Number 10, Needler's tree replacement. So Carly provided us some exciting information prior to this meeting that the trees, remember we had 2 trees removed in the fall, early late summer of last year around the dam. There's 1 more to come down, and that's probably going to happen in the spring of 2024.
Yeah.
And we're looking at replacements for those.
That's correct. So as soon as the weather permits, the remaining tree will come down, and then our staff will plant suitable species for that area.
Great. And those came down because they the one right in front of their house. Well, okay, excellent. And 11 and 12 we've already talked about, so we can just put those dates as spring summer 2024.
We'll keep updating as the budget goes through the budget process. Hopefully.
Yes. Okay. Any items for next meeting that I have not, or that we have not mentioned thus far? We've got a fairly good detailed agenda for next meeting, and I think as the weather starts to get warmer, our work will ramp up as per usual, and we can start talking about work dates, what needs to be done. We'll know more about the bridge, etc., and start to look at dates and work streams and plans around that. Yeah. So nothing anybody wants to add at this point, right? No? Okay. The next meeting date, February 26, 2024, around and follows. So as Maureen, did you take Mr. Brown out on the trail?
Pardon me? Pardon me?
Have you taken Mr. Brown out?
No, we haven't been out, but I will invite him as part of his trail report. So I'll walk him on any trails that are unfamiliar to him. Yeah. Because I think
Yeah,
it's a lot, John, for you to cover with him, all the trails. So I'll approach him and see what he'd like to do in terms of getting started.
Okay, that's excellent. Let us know if you need any help with that. Okay, can I have a motion for adjournment? Dave, seconded by John. In favor? All right. Thank you very much, everyone.